بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum, my sons and daughters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are going to continue our topic about Hajj, and today we are going to talk about the conditions of Hajj al-Tamattu. Ruling number 150. So as you can see, there are several conditions of Hajj al-Tamattu. We have like 5 conditions of Hajj al-Tamattu. So what are these 5 conditions? These are besides the general conditions we mentioned. So in any amal, in any ibadah, there are general conditions and there are specific conditions. For example, general condition of fasting, that a child reaches the age of adolescence, okay? But then there are specific conditions that the holy month of Ramadan's moon is known to be existing or in a citable condition. The knowledge of the moon is there in your sky or in the sky of the communities you share the night with or you share the horizon. Depends on whoever is your marja taqleed. So that is specific. General, every Muslim reaches the age of adolescence must fast. But then when is this fasting more specifically? In the holy month of Ramadan, and more specifically, when does it start? From the dawn till the... So these are other conditions, sub-conditions, but they are general conditions and sub-conditions. The same thing for Hajj. What we discussed before, the conditions of Hajj is general conditions as an obligation of Hajj. The Hajj becomes obligatory. For Hajj al-Tamattu to become obligatory, there are certain specific conditions. So we can see that number 1, the intention. مسألة 150, ruling number 150. يشترط في حج التمتع أمور. For Hajj al-Tamattu, like obligation of Hajj al-Tamattu is requires certain conditions. يشترط, conditions. What are these? Number 1, النية, the intention. بأن يقصد الإتيان بحج التمتع بعنوانه, with its title. What does its title mean? Its title means that when you go and perform, I'm performing Hajj. So yes, in your intention, what type of Hajj? Is it Hajj al-Tamattu? Is it Hajj al-Ifrad? Is it Hajj al-Qiran? So no, in your heart, you don't have to say the lifetime of your story. I am Fulan ibn Fulan, going to perform the Umrah of the Hajj al-Tamattu by the verbally, okay? For the Hajj al-Islam, Hajj al-Wujuban, you don't, it's in your heart. Like Sayyid al-Khuy used to say, if somebody asks you, hey, what are you doing? I'm doing tawaf. You're not heedless. Oh, no, no. Oh, I don't. I guess I'm doing tawaf. We don't want, I guess. That means you don't have niyyah. You don't have intention. You see how the intention works? So basically, when somebody suddenly asks you, yeah, what are you doing? I'm doing tawaf. For what you're doing? For Umrah. Which Umrah? Umrah al-Tamattu. Why? Because it's a part of Hajj al-Tamattu. Why? Because it's obligatory upon me, Hajj al-Islam. Why? To achieve the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all this, if somebody asks you, you have all the answers ready to answer. But if I guess so, I don't know. I mean, I think so, it's wajib. I think so. That is not intention. So intention is what is embedded in your heart, the awareness about what you are doing, in a way that if somebody interrupts and asks you, what are you doing? You will answer them what is in your heart. And that is what the intention is. So, بأن يقصد الإتيان بحج التمتع بعنواني, with its title, that you make the intention in your heart that I'm, though vocalizing is mustahab, okay, but the main obligatory intention is in your heart. That means awareness of what exactly are you doing. So here in this situation, we have يقصد الإتيان بحج التمتع بعنوانه, with its title, not title of any other. It should be in your heart. فلو نوى غيره. So if he فلو نوى غيره, if he intends other than حج التمتع أو تردد في نيته, or was hesitant in his intention, لم يصح حجه. His Hajj will be not valid. Why? Because he did not have intention. He was doing something out of intention, out of hesitation. Remember that guy? What are you doing? I don't know. I guess I'm doing tawaf. What are you doing? Maybe I think I'm doing it for the Hajj, or maybe for the Umrah, perhaps for the Hajj. So there is a hesitation. He's hesitant about his goals, his motives, his intention, his plans. What is he doing? He's hesitant. So that means his Hajj will be invalid. So he has to be precise with his intention. So if he intends Hajj al-Ifrad and is planning to do Hajj al-Tamattu, in his heart, it's Hajj al-Ifrad. And he's supposed to do Hajj al-Tamattu. No. The intention was different. Whatever was required, he did not perform it. Okay? He performed something else. أو تردد في نيته لم يصح. فلو نوى غيره, he intended other than Hajj al-Tamattu, or was hesitant in his intention, then it will not be valid from him. The Hajj will not be valid. His Hajj will not be valid. Number 2, the time period. Remember, Hajj al-Tamattu has a time period. All the Hajj has time period of Dhul Hajj. Okay, in Dhul Hajj, 8th of Dhul Hajj, people go to Arafat. 9th is the first day. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and some at 13th to certain circumstances. But from 9, 12 are the precise days of Hajj. 9th, Arafat. Eve of 10th, Muzdalifah. 10th, Mina. And then 2 nights in Mina. Eve of 11th and Eve of 12th. So 9 to 10, 1 day. 10 to 11, 2 day. 11 to 12, 3 day. 3 day, and then he leaves on day 12. So 9, 10, 11, 12. So 9th day, 10th day, 11th day, 12th day. So 4 days. The 4th day he leaves. Check out from his camping from Mina. So check in Arafat, 9th. Subhanallah, after Dhuhr. Most of the hotels, the check-in is after Dhuhr time. So after Dhuhr, Allah checks you in his big, huge hotel of Arafat, and you're the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you check out after Dhuhr, not before Dhuhr, after Dhuhr, on the day of 12th of Dhul Hajj from Mina. So consider this hotel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You check in Dhuhr time, you check out Dhuhr time. You check in 9th of Dhul Hajj Dhuhr time, you check out the 12th of Dhul Hajj the 12th of Dhul Hajj Dhuhr time. You can't leave Mina before Dhuhr on 12th. So it has to be, since it's in Dhul Hajj, so it has to be around that time. So what are the months of Hajj where your Umrah al-Tamattu is valid? Because Umrah al-Tamattu is part of the Hajj al-Tamattu. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, dakhalat al-Umratu fil Hajj, and he mixed these two fingers. So now, if that's the case, then it has to be associated with Hajj. That means it has to be in the month of Hajj. You cannot kick it out of the month of the Hajj. Umrah al-Tamattu. Umrah Mufrada, okay. Umrah al-Tamattu, which is with the Hajj. So, أن يكون مجموع العمرة والحج في أشهر الحج. What are the أشهر الحج? Shawwal, Dhul Qa'd, Dhul Hajj. Yani after you're done with the holy month of Ramadan, the month of Hajj, your day of Eid marks the start of the month of Hajj. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'd, Dhul Hajj. So if you did Umrah al-Tamattu in Shawwal, you're okay. If you did Umrah al-Tamattu in Dhul Qa'd, you're okay. If you did Umrah al-Tamattu in Dhul Hajj, okay, because you are going to do Hajj al-Tamattu in the month of Dhul Hajj. So Umrah al-Tamattu is performed somewhere before Hajj al-Tamattu and after the entrance of the months of Hajj, Ashhur al-Hajj. أن يكون مجموع العمرة والحج في أشهر الحج. The total of Umrah and Hajj should be in the months of Hajj. فلو أتى بجزء من العمرة قبل دخول الشوال لم تصح العمرة. So if he performed part of the Umrah, like he said, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, okay, he was in the 30th of the holy month of Ramadan or 29th of the holy month of Ramadan, and he performed his Umrah al-Tamattu. Okay, he said labbaik Allahumma labbaik. He said, let me get the thawab of entering the state of Ihram in the month of the Hajj. I mean, in the month of Ramadan, rewardable act. And then what happened? Once he said labbaik Allahumma labbaik, he entered the state of Ihram, or he might have performed the Umrah as well. I mean, the tawaf. So part of his Umrah was done where? Inside the month of Hajj, inside the holy month of Ramadan, like out of the month of Hajj. Ramadan is not month of Hajj. So he says, فَلَوْ أَتَى بِجُزْءٍ مِّنَ الْعُمْرَةِ قَبْلَ دُخُولِ شَوَّالٍ. So if he performed some part of his Umrah before the entrance of Shawwal, لَمْ تَصُحُّ الْعُمْرَةِ. His Umrah will be not valid as Umrah al-Tamattu, obviously, because we're talking about Hajj al-Tamattu. Okay? Because he made an intention of Umrah al-Tamattu. So his Umrah will be not valid with that intention of Hajj, Umrah al-Tamattu, because Umrah al-Tamattu is part of Hajj al-Tamattu. It has to be in the month of Hajj. Yeah. So for example, this guy, he did the Umrah. He said, no, I need to do Umrah in the holy month of Ramadan. I need to get this great thawab. Because, like the greatest thawab in the school of Ahl al-Bayt for Umrah is Rajab. And then holy month of Ramadan. Some other schools of Islam, they consider holy month of Ramadan. But anyhow, the best Umrah is where you are able to perform best with the best of intention and focusing on Allah with the khushu' and khudu'. That's the best. You do it in Rajab, Sha'ban, wherever. Yeah, if you can do the same in Rajab, you'll get more reward. Ramadan, more reward. So in this case, what's happening here? We have this guy is in the moon sighting, and once he said labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and he does this talbiyah, he's in the ihram, and somehow he sighted the moon. So here we say this Umrah is invalid because it was out of the month of Hajj. If you had intended Umrah al-Tamattu should be in the month of Hajj. Number 3, أن يكون الحج والعمرة في سنة واحدة. Hajj and Umrah should both be in 1 year. You can't do Umrah in this year, Umrah al-Tamattu, and stay in Mecca until next year. Like people, they say, how can that be possible? I mean, Umrah al-Tamattu, you said it should be only in Ashur al-Hajj. After Dhul Hajj, Muharram will enter. How can his Umrah be valid? And he will be out of Ashur Hajj, because number 2 condition said what? Condition number 2 was that excuse me. Condition number 2 was that it should be in the month of Hajj together. Okay? And يكون مجموع في أشهر الحج, both of them. Muharram is not month of Hajj. So once he's out, he did not do Hajj, he was in his ihram of Umrah. Let's say he became sick, or he became halted or molted or somewhere. He did his ihram of Hajj al-Tamattu in the airplane, and somehow the airplane landed somewhere else, and then there were no flights to Mecca, and he decided to just stay in that ihram until next year in certain place or certain country, or he lost his conscience or something like this. Some kind of circumstances happened that he was not able to perform his Umrah al-Tamattu, I mean Hajj al-Tamattu. Umrah, almost half was done, and he did not do even taqsir. So the thing is that condition number 2 said that if it's out of the month of Hajj, it's invalid. So only way we can consider this scenario to be valid is somehow he got he lost his conscience, for example, he became sick, he became on mechanical ventilator, he's in the state of ihram. And but does the ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu continue after Dhul Hajj? That's a debate among the scholars. So Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah says that the Hajj and Umrah should be in 1 year, both of them, not this year. فلو أتى بالعمرة وأخر الحج إلى السنة القادمة لم يصح التمتع. Okay, so if he performs Umrah in a year and delayed his Hajj to the next year, his Umrah al-Tamattu will be invalid. Next year he would have to do his new Umrah al-Tamattu. And that's the thing, that if it is, there are two things here. It has to be in the month of Hajj. Muharram is not month of Hajj. Okay, so, and he's going to stay in Makkah until next year. Let's say he performed Umrah. It's one of the scenarios. He finished his Umrah, he completed Taqsir and decided to stay in Makkah, or got fainted, or whatever reason, until next year. Can he do, this is a scenario, he completed his Umrah, so he was out of his Ihram. So can he delay to next year? No. Both has to be in same year. فلو أتى بالعمرة وأخر الحج إلى السنة القادمة لم يصح التمتع. Therefore, if he performs his Umrah and delayed his Hajj till next year, his Umrah al-Tamattu will not be valid. Okay, see the words precisely, his Umrah al-Tamattu will not be valid. ولا فرق في ذلك بين أن يقيم في مكة إلى السنة القادمة وبين أن يرجع إلى أهله ثم يعود إليها. He says there's no difference, regardless of whether he stays in Makkah until next year, then he enters the state of Ihram from Makkah for Hajj. Ihram of Hajj is from Makkah. Ihram of Umrah from the designated miqat which the Prophet ﷺ decided out of the city of Makkah and out of Muzdalifah, Mina, Arafat. But for Hajj, he enters the state of Ihram. So he's already in Makkah. Or no, he left to his hometown and came back in the next year, to Makkah to perform Umrah al-Tamattu. He says no. لم يصح التمتع ولا فرق في ذلك. Regardless, there is no difference between whether he stayed in Makkah until the next year, or he returned to his family and then he came back to Makkah. So it doesn't matter whether he stays or whether he returns back to Makkah after visiting his hometown. كما لا فرق. Similarly, there is no difference بين أن يحل من إحرامه بالتقصير وبين أن يبقى محرما إلى السنة القادمة. This is the point. There is no difference whether he stays in the state of Ihram, okay, or no, he had exited the state of Ihram by taqsir. كما لا فرق. Similarly, there is no difference between he exits his Ihram by performing taqsir Ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu, okay, وبين أن يبقى محرما, or no, he doesn't do taqsir. He says, he did his a'mal, but he said, I'll stay in the state of Ihram until next year, and next year I will perform the Umrah. He says, it doesn't make any difference. Kiss your Umrah al-Tamattu goodbye, because it needs to be done in the same year, and you want to perform the Hajj in the next year. Condition number 4. Ihram. Remember, Ihram of Miqat, Ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu, Umrah al-Mufrada was outside of Makkah, in the outskirts, which is Miqat, for a few designated places by the Prophet ﷺ. That's a Miqat of Umrah, Mufrada or Tamattu. As long as you're coming from outside, you do that. That Irq. No, then Medina, there is northeast. Then north, which is Masjid al-Shajara in Medina al-Munawwara, or northwest, Juhfa, those who are coming from the northwest side or the west. And then those who are coming from the east, there's Ta'if, Yalamlam, or Qarn al-Manazil, or Sayl al-Kabir, depends on how the scholars have verified it. And then from south, people coming from south, from Yemen, that is Yalamlam. So Yalamlam from south, I think I said Yalamlam somewhere else. Let me fix it. So northwest, northeast, that Irq. North, Masjid al-Shadra, Medina al-Munawwara. Northwest, Juhfa. It's not that west. It's like north, but it's a bit west. And then south, we have Yalamlam from Yemen. And east, we have Qarn al-Manazil, or As-Sayl al-Kabir, as they say. So these are the designated miqat for people coming from outside for Umrah. Once you're in Makkah, you want to perform Umrah al-Mufrada, you don't have to go all these farther miqats. You can just go outside of the Haram and enter the state of Ihram and come back. And the preferred location is Masjid al-Tan'im, or they call it Masjid Aisha. Okay? So this is something which was about the difference between miqat of Umrah and miqat of Hajj. Miqat of Hajj. Where is the miqat of Hajj? In Makkah. In Makkah. So that's why he said, fourth condition is أن يكون إحرام حجه من مكة مع الاختيار. If you have an option, then you enter the state of Ihram of Hajj from Makkah. Yeah, there's a difference between some of the scholars. Sayyid al-Khuy Quddasa Sirruh was very peculiar about the ancient Makkah and new Makkah, because Makkah is expanded. So he would say, no, if you are going to enter the state of Ihram, don't enter the state of Ihram from these expanded areas of Makkah like Aziziyah and all this. No, come inside the vicinity of Makkah, close to Makkah, where they considered Masjid al-Jinn. Okay, so Masjid al-Jinn, the people, the bus stops, and their followers of Sayyid al-Khuy, they enter the state of Ihram. And then the rest, followers of Sayyid Sistani Damadullah and some other Maraja, they can enter the state of Ihram from wherever they are in Makkah, even from their hotel, as long as it is Makkah. So the Ihram of Hajj should be from Makkah optionally. Optionally, what does that mean? That means if someone was compelled to go out of Makkah and he became in trouble or something and he was not able to come back to Makkah, and 9th Dhul Hajj or 8th Dhul Hajj Eve happened and 9th Dhul Hajj happened, then he doesn't have to come Makkah. He enters the state of Ihram there and comes to the Arafat, land of Arafat, the camp, the hotel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to check in around Dhuhr time. So that's the meaning. He says optionally it's Makkah. If compelled or under any other circumstances, it can be from out of Makkah. But if option, no. If you have an option from in and out, then it should be inside Makkah. Okay. أن يكون إحرام حجه. The condition is for Hajj al-Tamattu', his Ihram of Hajj, the Ihram of his Hajj should be from Makkah. That means he enters the state of Ihram in Makkah مع الاختيار, optionally. وأفضل مواضعها المسجد الحرام. The best of the places in Makkah, the best of its location is, the best of Makkah's location is, or the location, of Makkah where you enter the state of Ihram is Masjid al-Haram, the sacred mosque. So this was optional. If you have an option, you have to enter the state of Ihram from Makkah, and the best place in Makkah is the Masjid al-Haram, the Masjid, the sacred mosque itself. وَإِذَا لَمْ يُمْكِنْهُ الْإِحْرَامُ مِنْ مَكَّةَ لِعُذْرٍ أُحْرِمَ مِنْ أَيِّ مَوْضِعٍ تَمَكَّنَ مِنْهُ. If he was not able to enter Makkah for certain reasons, okay? Now this is compulsion. This is not voluntarily. This is not optionally. He was not able to. He was planning to, but he was not planning to enter Makkah. He was not able to enter Makkah because he needs to enter the state of Ihram from inside Makkah. He's not able to enter Makkah. Flight canceled, this happened, that happened, things happen. So we'll say just enter the state of Ihram from wherever you are. From wherever you are. So he says, وإذا لم يمكنه الإحرام من مكة لعذر, if he was not able to enter the state of Ihram from Makkah due to the circumstances, أحرم من أي موضع تمكن منه, then he should enter the state of Ihram from whichever position or whichever location he can, whichever, okay, wherever location, because he's not able to enter Makkah. Khalas, wherever you are, don't miss the wuquf of Arafat, just enter the state of Ihram. Okay, number 5, أن يؤدي مجموع عمرته وحجه أن يؤدي مجموع عمرته وحجه شخص واحد عن شخص واحد, فلو استؤجر 2 لحج التمتع عن ميت أو حي, أحدهما لعمرته والآخر لحجه, لم يصح ذلك. وكذلك لو حج شخص وجعل عمرته عن واحد وحجه عن آخر, لم يصح. So these are the 2 scenarios where the Hajj al-Tamattu will not be valid. The first scenario mentions أن يؤدي مجموعة عمرته وحج شخص. One person should perform his Umrah and his Hajj. أن يؤدي مجموعة عمرته وحج شخص واحد. One person should perform his Umrah al-Tamattu and Hajj al-Tamattu. Not, oh, uncle, you do Umrah al-Tamattu on my behalf. Oh, brother, you do Hajj al-Tamattu on my behalf. That does not work out like that, okay? It has to be one person doing both Umrah al-Tamattu and Hajj al-Tamattu. And so, أن يؤدي مجموع عمرته وحج شخص واحد عن شخص واحد. One person on behalf of one person. You cannot do on behalf of 2 person. So one person for one person. فلو استؤجر 2 لحج التمتع. Therefore, if 2 were hired to perform Hajj al-Tamattu on behalf of a deceased or a living responsible person. We're going to mention in future what type of living person niyabat can be done on his behalf. عن ميت أو حي, okay, فلو استؤجر 2 لحج التمتع. So therefore, if 2 were hired to perform Hajj of Tamattu عن ميت on behalf of the deceased, أو حي on behalf of the living, أحدهما لعمرته والآخر لحجه. Okay, so أحدهما, one of them, so two people are hired, okay? One should offer Umrah, other should offer Hajj. No, one should do both things. لحج لم يصح ذلك. So if 2 لحج, 2 people were hired for Hajj on behalf of deceased, or no, on behalf of living. The conditions of living are going to be mentioned, and some we mentioned before. حي أو حي أحدهما لعمرته, they hired someone so that the Hajj is performed on behalf of the deceased, or even one of them for himself and other was for his friend, okay, the other person. لم يصح ذلك. No, both. You have to do both on your behalf, or if you're doing on behalf of somebody, tawaf and all these things, tawaf and sa'i, all these things, they need to be on behalf of that person completely, Umrah and Hajj together. You cannot separate Umrah and Hajj. Umrah, your uncle did, now you're going for Hajj, I'll make the intention of Hajj. No, you'll have to do Umrah and Hajj together. فلو استؤجر 2, 2 person were hired لحج التمتع عن ميت أو حي, to perform the Hajj al-Tamattu on behalf of deceased or on behalf of a living. We are going to mention certain conditions for living. حتى أحدهما أو حي أحدهما لعمرته والآخر لحجه. One for Umrah, one for Hajj. لم يصح ذلك. That will not be valid. وكذلك لو حج شخص وجعل عمرته واحد وحجه عن آخر لم يصح. Similarly, if somebody وكذلك لو حج شخص, if one person performs a Hajj, their just a while ago, we said 2 people were hired. Okay? 2 people, one for Umrah, one for Hajj. The scenario now is 1 person is hired. وكذلك لو حج شخص وجعل عمرته عن واحد. Okay? He did Umrah for someone وحجه عن آخر. And his Hajj was for someone else. لم يصح. In nutshell, 2 people cannot do one person's Hajj in a way that one does Umrah, other does Hajj. No. Both of them should be done by either this, by either that. You cannot divide the responsibilities. That's number 1. Number 2, we said we hired 1 person. But 1 person, we told them, see, you perform Umrah for this and Hajj for that. No. It has to be all together. This ruling, we'll leave it for tomorrow. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.